Hello. I'm just trying to get a little organized here. I'm here to talk about winning sweepstakes, and I had what is known as a sweeper problem. I'm just shutting everything down over here, putting it to sleep. I had what is known as a sweeper problem. I had booked a live for last night, and then I won tickets to an event. Of course I did, right? That is what a sweeper problem is. So I rescheduled for tonight because I love talking about sweepstakes and winning and having fun. And I completely missed last night because, well, I won something. Isn't that funny? No, I didn't take any pictures. I didn't film anything. I just won a $25 gift card at the event. That's what I won. And we had a good time with friends. It was a local sports team. It was their party. And that's what I did. But if you have sweepstakes questions, because I don't know if you've seen my recent videos, but sweepstakes season is in full swing. It's day 3. People are getting burnt out already. There are so many giveaways. And something I used to see all the time was companies would do it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I haven't really paid much attention to Facebook. Twitter, they don't really seem to be there anymore. And Instagram is where it's at. There are so many giveaways on Instagram right now. It is insane. And I've seen a few on TikTok. So people are shifting their marketing over to these platforms for sweepstakes season. So if you have any specific questions, ask me in the comments. I'll answer the specific questions. Otherwise, I'll talk about sweepstakes season in general and what happens. Okay. It's also known as Advent calendar season because you will see 12 days of giveaways, 24 days of giveaways, December's like giveaway month. So it depends on their marketing plans, whether they're giving away 12 prizes, 24 prizes, or some contests are giving away 31 prizes. So it depends on the giveaway, depends on how many prizes they have. Also, it depends on when they start it. So a bunch of companies start December 1st to December 12th because they want all the prizes shipped before Christmas. Some really stick to the Christmas schedule. They're December 12th to December 24th, which means, and I call it double day because I will be blogging about this, December 12th is when half of them end and half of them begin. So it is like crazy that day between the last day for a bunch and the first day for a lot. Then it's right up until Christmas, and then it kind of dies down for a bit. Some start up in January. A lot of giveaways end at the end of December, so a lot of people win big at the beginning of January. January is when many companies reset their marketing budgets for the year, and then you start to see the giveaways pick back up. Now, they never 100% die, but there's a bit of a dip, shall we say, in the number of things given away in January, which after sweepstakes season, people welcome the bit of rest. Now, it used to have an increase for the holidays, but it was never to this extent until social media came along. And then it just blew up. It just blew up. It was crazy. So, if you're wondering how I'm so good at this, I'm known as the contest queen. I have helped others win millions of dollars in cash prizes. I myself am up to close to $400,000 in cash and prizes. This year, I've had the best year I've had in a long time. And I've written a couple of books on sweepstakes specifically. I've written You Can't Win If You Don't Enter. Oh, I guess I should flip my camera. So hold on. That is under flip camera here. Oh, no, not that flip camera. Mirror my video. Sorry. So You Can't Win If You Don't Enter. And How to Win Cash, Cars, Trips, and More. So actually, I talk about one of the things people can do. I actually have a great story in this book that I just love at Christmas time. It's all about, where was it? Was it in this chapter? Oh my gosh, I have so many stories. This story was from a woman, and you never know the value of a prize until you put it out there, so to speak. So, was it under the attracting luck chapter? It's a fantastic story. I gotta find it. So, it's about a woman who won a very unusual prize. Now, this was years ago, and she won this prize. There was that movie with Bill Murray, and he was in an aquatic movie. What the heck was that called? Oh, here it is. This is from Evelyn in Queens and Maryland. I love this story. It all started with my entering. Oh, maybe this was a different movie prize. Anyway, listen to the story. Evelyn said it all started with my entering a 1 entry per person sweepstakes, and it was called A Very Shady Christmas. And it was in 2004. Oh my God, this is like almost 20 years old. So this is crazy. Now, in my next book, I've taken all the stories out and I have all new stories. But in every book, I have stories, new stories. So it's not just me. Around February of the next year, okay, so now it's 2005. A package arrived unannounced. Inside were these bright blue, and I mean bright blue, size 10 men's custom air Slim Shady M&M Nike tennis shoes with an autographed card. I don't have anyone in the family who would be in need of these shoes, so I put them away and forgot all about them. It was nearing the next Christmas, and my daughter was out of work, so I gave them to her to sell on eBay, thinking she would get maybe $100 if she was lucky. Well, the auction went up, and she kept getting many emails from people wanting to buy them direct. She declined all the offers so as not to get in trouble with eBay for selling on the side. We watched the shoes slowly click up in price day after day. Finally, the auction time was near, and the bids had already reached $1,800. And we were in total shock. It was truly going to be a good Christmas for my daughters. The bills would be paid, and there would be extra for presents. The last few minutes of the auction were very exciting. The counter was climbing the number of views of the webpage, about 25 every time we hit the refresh button. And who would have ever thought, well, when all was said and done, the auction ended at $3,500. I love this story. Can you believe those bright blue shoes went from a win to a windfall? I love that. So his prize that she had no use for ended up being a godsend for the family at Christmas time. So you never know. But here's an interesting... Now, I put that story there because I had a section in my book called Prizes, Prizes Everywhere. What do you know? That's the name of my next book. Have you ever won something and thought, why did I enter the sweepstakes? I didn't want to win this. What was I thinking? And now what am I going to do with it? Now, sometimes the problem is you enter for the big prize and you win a secondary prize. Like there was a running joke with one of my fellow sweepstakers last summer. She won, like, I think every cooler contest. Like she clearly didn't want like 6 coolers, but she won. Like every time I talked to her, we're like, what did you win this month at our club meetings? And she'd like, I won another cooler. I remember one day she had 3 of them show up. I'm like, oh my God, that is so funny. I mean, her and her husband go camping and stuff, so they need, some good coolers, but you only need like 1 or 2, depending on, you don't need 6. So I think she was selling the rest. Similar. There are several things you can do with prizes you want. You can share your win. I do this all the time. Sometimes I actually enter to give the prize away. If you can't use a prize, give it to someone you know who'd really like it or appreciate it. I remember one time my sister said to me at Christmas time, you better not be giving me something you won. I'm like, no, I want a gift card and I bought your gift with it. And she's like, okay. Love my sister. She's so funny. You could sell your win, just like the story I talked about. eBay's Craigslist or Kijiji are popular for anything and everything. You could trade your win. There's actually trade groups. I think they're on Facebook now. There used to be on like forums, like Yahoo groups and stuff, but they're all gone. You could offer the trade at a sweepstakes club meeting. Actually, we have a trade board usually at the sweepstakes convention because people sometimes win something. They're flying and they win a big prize and they trade for it. Post a message in an online group or in your on Facebook. You could gift your win. Like I said, I know many people save their winnings for the holiday season and give them away as gift to ease their financial strain. There's a lot of people that enter all year long and literally stash away all the prizes for Christmas. I'm giving away a big win this Christmas. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Just keep watching the feed. I don't want to talk too loud because my door's open ajar because I have an extension cord charging a few things because I don't have enough plugs in my office. So it hasn't arrived yet. So I'm hoping it'll come when I can hide it. You could donate your win. There's a lot of charities, they're looking for unwrapped gifts for children of all ages. Like a lot of times people buy the gifts with the little kids and the teenagers are left out. So, if you get something for an older child, that's a great way to donate. So yeah, that story I called, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So that's kind of fun. So that's one thing you can do with the, let's see what else. I love telling stories out of this book. There's so many stories, like it's ridiculous. I keep a spreadsheet of all my wins. And this year I was very neglectful. So I think after I finish my next book, because I'm updating A Man Called Friday for Helene Hadsel. It's her final book and it's a storybook. It's not it's not nonfiction like her other 3 books. It's actually her first fiction. It's actually not bad for first fiction for someone that's not their forte. And so it's pretty good. And I'm partway through the edit. And I skimmed it. So it's the first time I'm actually reading it as I edit it. It's kind of a fun book. But I track all my wins and I'm behind. So I'm going to have to update my spreadsheet. By the way, if you want a spreadsheet, I guess I should update a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet on my website. If you go to 5 Steps to Begin Winning and scroll down, I have a spreadsheet on the first page that you can use to track your wins. And then I update it every year. Right now it's an Excel spreadsheet, but maybe I should also add a Google version so that people have more than one type. Oh, like listen to this crazy story. So one of the things I tell people all the time is check your notifications, because you never know. And Vicky said you should check every possible drop-off area around your home for winning notifications. She said she lives in Dallas, Oregon. If you have home delivery of dairy products, believe it or not, I don't know where she lives because we don't have that here. And this book, I wrote it and it was released in 2016. So it's not super old. So I don't know who still had dairy. But she said, check your delivery box for prizes. Ours is right by our front door. Like the house I live in right now is an older home and it did get dairy delivery. But that box has long since been sealed off and insulated and closed. Like there's no more door. Ours is right by our front door and our delivery guy comes Monday morning. So I leave my order slip out Sunday night. And one Sunday night at 11:30 p.m., I lifted the lid to put in my order slip in and noticed a FedEx envelope. I opened the envelope and was notified I had just won $50,000 in the Sony Sweepstakes. FedEx had left the envelope sometime between the prior Monday and Saturday. Eek! I had no idea it was in there. Better than Easter. Woo! Now, what's crazy is if she'd had a time limit to get back, like if they said you got 72 hours from when this is received to get back to us, she might have actually missed out on that prize. Could you imagine? Oh my God. I would have been sick. Sometimes you do miss out on big wins. But Brian Tracy, this is a good quote by Brian Tracy. I found that luck is quite predictable. If you want more luck, take more chances, be more active, show up more often. I saw Brian Tracy talk in person once, like at a, oh, he was fantastic. It was one of those like seminars. Yeah, so there's something that I do every year. I'm going to talk about the sweepstakes conventions. It's a little fun. I should be talking about sweepstakes season, but it's so overwhelming. By the way, after this live, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down with a cup of tea. We're going to put a movie on. I'm going to sit with my Chromebook, and I'm going to enter sweepstakes for, I don't know, maybe till midnight. I'm so behind. It's run each year on a volunteer basis. So this is, I'm talking about the annual National Sweepstakes Convention. Now, if you go to my website, you can find information about it. There's a couple of conventions being run next year. Oops. There's a couple of conventions being run next year. One of them being the annual national one. And then there's a mini in Memphis. And then there's the announcement for the next year. It's going to be in Texas. If you guys have any sweepstakes questions, just put them in the comments and I'll answer them. Anyway, I'm reading out of How to Win Cash, Cars, Trips, and More right now. If you have anything you want. And I only have 4 likes. We need to do something about that. If somebody can please like this video. It's so funny. See, I noticed it's Saturday night during sweepstakes season in the month of December with Christmas. And yeah, everyone's doing other things, right? More important. Is the American sweepstakes a scam? Do you mean the Publishers Clearinghouse? It's not a scam, but the odds are dismal. You actually have better odds of winning the Powerball sweepstakes. I know, crazy, right? Yes, you actually have better odds winning the Powerball. So, I don't waste my time on it. There's so many giveaways. Yeah, and they spam. So, okay, so here's my advice always, always, always. Twin Cities said as an avid sweepstakers did quite well, but I petered out one sweepstakes. Oh, is Omaze real? Yes, and I'm interviewing them for my next book. I actually know people that have won from Omaze, so they are real. Except there's tons of people entering, so it's harder to win. Yeah, so Twin Cities should, when they mostly went online. Yeah, it's a whole new ball game. So even when I came in at the end of the mail-in era, so I did a bit and then it died out. Then it was basically the online forms went to computer, and I did quite well. And then it got harder. Okay, Kelly, I'll answer your question in a minute. So it got a lot harder, but if you know how to do Instagram and TikTok, I've won several TikTok giveaways, believe it or not. And one was substantial. And I know someone that won 10 grand from a TikTok giveaway. So this is the platform to be entering on because not as many people are doing it. But you have to be willing to do more creative giveaways and things like that. The more barriers there are to entry, like you have to write an essay, or you have to be creative, or you have to snap a picture, or you have to make a dish and use the product or something. I come across them. Here's a tip, Sage. If you're looking for giveaways on TikTok, see who's using extremely popular hashtags if they don't match what they're talking about. Some people just use current trending hashtags just to boost their own videos. But they could be a giveaway. So I haven't won every TikTok giveaway that I've entered. But the ratio of entries to wins is quite high because this is a platform that I'm in. Oh, thank you for all the likes. That makes me feel better. So switch from mail to online. Okay. So I wear 2 crowns. I have a teaching crown, which is the contest queen, and I have a marketing crown. So I also have a business called Idea Majesty, and I do sweepstakes marketing. So I have 2 opinions on the switch from mail to online. The switch to mail to online had two sides for the people entering. If you were really proficient at online and knew how to use tools like RoboForm, you could enter far more sweepstakes online and win. When social came in, it made it really hard. From a marketer's point of view, it's a dream because mailing was expensive and you could just put it online and take it down. And then when you had social, you could split up the marketing budget and give away smaller prizes and get more traction and more ROI out of it. So marketers love online and social sweepstakes as a marketing tool, and consumers don't like it as much because it's harder to win. However, because so many more companies can do it, like as a small business in the past, I would never have the budget to hold a sweepstakes. But as a small business, I can hold a sweepstakes and give away small prizes that are in my budget and get traction from it. So there's a lot more you can win from smaller businesses, and the odds of winning those are better. Now, Kelly wants to know how to find regional. So you can set up Google Alerts, or you can use a sweepstakes aggregate that will set up, that will divide it for you. So for example, Sweeps Atlas, if you go in there, and I think Sweepstakes Advantage does this too, you can sort by state and see what's open to you. So basically, the concentric circles, right? You enter local and then regional and then national and then global, right? So your odds of winning, of course, are better. I do very good or very well, grammar, with the sweepstakes from my local radio stations because it's a smaller pool. And believe it or not, I don't win phoning in. First of all, there's only one station that was doing a phone in this time of year. Everybody else has gone to either register online, hear your name, you have 10 minutes to call back. So they draw a name from that. Or something else they do, which is really interesting. They'll give a code word. You have to either go enter it on their website or text it in. And the texting ones usually happen. If they call you back, you qualify. So it's kind of like a dial-in, but this way everybody who hears the code word can enter, and then they pick one person. So it's a little more fair, whereas you might never have been the 21st caller or 7th caller or whatever, but you have a chance to be called back when you text in. So that's another thing. And then the radio stations have straight up entry form giveaways on their websites. Last week, if you go and see my video on TikTok, I went and saw Christmas Tea. We went and saw a Christmas production at our local theater. I won it from a local radio station by entering a form online on their website. Oh my God, it was so funny. It started off so weird. And I'm thinking, oh, what did I win? And then the play got better as I looked at the schedule, and they were playing in some big theaters across the province. And I thought, okay, these big places aren't going to book these guys if it's not good. So it was very strange at first. And then it got funnier and funnier and funnier until the end, where we could hardly hold our sides. They were just so sore from laughing. So it was really good. And I love it because I never would have bought tickets to that. And it was so fun. It was a good date night. We went out for dinner first. That was not part of the package. We just went out for dinner. And then we went and saw the play. And it's nice because it really helps the budget when you win tickets like that. So like we went, if you go back a little bit, in October, we went to Mexico. I won the trip in February, and then we finally booked it in May. And then we went in October. So sometimes it takes a while. We had to work with schedules and things. So that's why we didn't go till later in the year. But it was a lot of fun. So yeah, if you go back in my feed a bit, you can see we went a trip to Mexico, and it wasn't just for me. I took my boyfriend George, and I took my sister, and I took my brother-in-law. So the four of us went away, and it was so fun. You know how nice it was to win something and take them away? It didn't cost anything. Oh my God, it was amazing. So this hobby can really give you experiences and prizes. That's the other problem. Like there's people that do a lot of unboxings. Tom Cavalli, one of my cohorts, and he's another sweepstakes teacher. I love him. But I stopped telling him, stop doing unboxings. People are getting annoyed. You got to be the teacher you are and start answering some questions in between all the prizes. And I'm like, what are you winning all that stuff? And the thing is, he enters for the big prizes. And of course, he wins so many secondary prizes. And he's like, I don't need another t-shirt. I don't need another koozie or whatever. But, if you like, for example, the contest that I entered that I won the $25 Visa gift card, the grand prize was $500, and it was a $200 card and $300 in swag. And I won the $25 card, which is going to make a great stocking stuffer. Put it in there. That saves a little bit of funds. Oh, what's his name on TikTok? Oh yeah, I haven't got there. Sorry. Can I comment? I think I can comment. It's I win contest, but let me see if I can. Oh, I can comment here. Let me see if I can tag him. I think it's this. Oh my God. I don't think it's actually. Okay, I hope I did this right. That may or may not work as a tag. His name is Tom Cavalli. Let me see if I can tap it again. You think I would learn how to use this better. That means I need to do more lives to answer more stuff. Okay, there's Tom. Okay, so I hope that works. Anyway, he's fantastic and he's funny as all get out. And it all depends on your area, right? If you live, depends on your region, depends on the winning opportunities around you. Now, he lives close to Disney and Universal Studios, so he's winning stuff from those kinds of companies all the time because he's in Florida. Yeah, I don't have those opportunities. So, and he's won cruises. Well, there's no cruises near me. I don't have those opportunities. So, oh, Melanie, I'm going to fix that for you. So let me answer, Boss Lady. Oh, I love your handle. Okay, pay to play. So I did a video on this. If you scroll back a bit, you'll see me with a ton of chocolate bars in front of me. So, join a subscription. Okay, so there's different ways to pay to enter a sweepstakes and free. And then I'll talk about the difference with the sweepstakes aggregate between a free sweepstakes aggregate and a paid subscription. Okay, so there's two different answers there. So the first one is you should never have to pay to enter a sweepstakes. Now that said, some sweepstakes are like, for example, one of our drugstores will have a local giveaway. And if you go and buy two of these shampoos or two products from this brand, or sometimes at the holidays, they'll do buy so much Christmas candy or something worth, you buy $15 worth of Christmas candy and swipe your loyalty card, you're in to win, blah, 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 whatever price. But of course, they have to have a no purchase entry option. So if you go to their website and look at the rules, they'll say, hey, you can mail in an essay and be in to win whatever the prize is. So if you're going to be buying Christmas candy anyway, you might as well go and get it there and be in to win. Right? It just, if it's going to be something you get anyway. Otherwise, you're mailing in an entry. That's going to cost you money because you have to have paper and an envelope and a stamp. I mean, that costs money, right? But you're not actually paying to enter the sweepstakes, if that makes sense. They're not taking your credit card and a fee to be in to win. It's not a lottery by legal definition, right? If you want to buy a lottery, you pay them a consideration, what they call a consideration, and you get a chance to win a prize. Right? That's how that works. So a sweepstakes has no consideration, but you still have a chance to win a prize. Okay, so I hope that makes sense on that. Now, subscriptions, there's different sites. So, for example, I just interviewed Ken Carlos of Sweepstakes Advantage, and there's others. There's Sweeps Atlas, and everybody has different tiers. You can go and use both those sites absolutely free of charge. However, if you want to use some of the additional features in the site, you do need to subscribe. Now, it's worth it for a lot of reasons. One, it's not free for any of these providers to have a website. They have to pay web hosting. They have to pay for a mail server, all their time to maintain the site, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not free for them. So what they do is they split the site in kind of to two things where you get all these extra features if you pay, and that gives them the funds to then keep improving the site, keep adding new features, keep it going, right? I've seen many things come and go since I've been doing this since 2001. So I always say, if you like the hobby, support. So Tom is only subscribed. But, and if you go to Sweepstakes Advantage, if you use the code Contest Queen, you get, is it 10 or 20% off? It's a good discount anyway. And it's very inexpensive if you base it out on the value you're going to get. I mean, seriously, one win and it pays for the value of the subscription. And sites like Sweepstakes Advantage, it's a very small team. It's like Ken and his wife, his daughter, and I think a couple other people. Or Sweep Sheet, I think it's 5 people that work in the whole place. So that's it. They have to keep this whole thing going. I recommend trying one out first, seeing if you like the format, how they handle their giveaways, how they word things, if you like it, if you like their emails, if you like everything. There's different sites. People like different formats for different reasons. So for example, if you subscribe to Sweepstakes Advantage, one of the things I say to people is you have to be organized. You can get a My Sweepstakes feature, and you get something similar with Sweeps Atlas. Now, a lot of people like Sweepstakes Fanatics, but it's free, and Todd doesn't have any of those features on his site because it's free. He doesn't build in any, so then you have to track it. So if you want somebody to help, then you do that. Okay, Melanie. So back to where are you finding your sweepstakes? That's part of the problem. So 1, have an email address just for entering sweepstakes. 2, I want you to use a sweepstakes aggregate. This is why the sweepstakes aggregates are so important, because they vet the companies. They vet the giveaways they post on their site. Okay, it makes it so much easier because it's not only them, it's other people looking at it. And so it's going to make it easier for you to enter legitimate sweepstakes. A lot of times, like I've seen some of the magazine ones, I wouldn't enter them. I was teaching a class about 2 weeks ago, and that question was asked. She's like, oh, what about this magazine's giveaways? And I said, well, let's go look. As I host the classes in Zoom, so I can share my screen and we can go and all look together so everybody can see. And we were reading the terms and I'm like, oh, I don't like these terms. Right in the terms, it was saying that they were going to share with their other sponsors. And they had a ton of giveaways. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. I wouldn't even bother entering any of these. There's so many other giveaways that I wouldn't even bother. Because, yeah, you're going to get annoyed. So I would skip them. You have to read the terms to see what they're doing with your email. And like right now, people are saying, well, I don't know, what about Instagram? Are they scammy? Well, if Kraft or, I don't know, pick a brand, pick a Home Depot, Walgreens. If their Instagram is holding a giveaway, you can pretty much be sure that it's a legitimate giveaway. Like these big Fortune 500 companies, like I won that trip to Mexico from Booking.com during the Super Bowl. There's so many Super Bowl giveaways. It's crazy. Like I Win Contest sends out a special Super Bowl sweepstakes newsletter and he cuts it off at 3 p.m. because he said, I can't go anymore. There's just so many. He said I don't even get them all. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. So it depends on how bad that email address is. You can either toast it or just start unsubscribing from literally everything. Every day take, 10, 20, 30 even, and just unsubscribe and eventually it'll all just stop. Believe it or not, I get less spam in my Contest Queen or my personal sweepstakes email address than I do my Contest Queen business email address. I get so much more spam there. So I know it has to do with where you're putting your address. Okay, and TB wants to know where I can find international sweepstakes. The only international aggregate that I know of, and it depends on your country, because I do know there is some specialty sites in the UK and Australia. But if you go to Contest Chest, he's the only international aggregate that I know of. Oh, how fun. I won swag from Cartoon Network and a deer mount from Mountain Dew. Oh, you got one of those Mountain Dew mounts? Oh my God, that's cool. I would totally hang that up in my house. I love those. See, I like good swag. Oh my God, that is so cool. Congratulations. Oh, 30 stars from Starbucks for life. Yeah, I haven't entered today. I'm so behind. Like I said, it's sweepstakes season. And after I do this live in front of the couch with my laptop, entering. Yes, I do think it's worth it to subscribe to a sweepstakes newsletter. I used to subscribe to one years ago. Yeah. So what you can do is, if you haven't had one in a while and you're not sure, a lot of them offer 3-month subscriptions inexpensively. So I think Tom Cavalli's is like $30 for 3 months. You know, try it out. You'll definitely win something worth at least $30 in those 3 months. So, it's worth it. And then you can see if you like the format. I can't remember what Sweep Sheet is. There's, now, it's kind of hard to say sweepstakes newsletter now, because they used to be just a newsletter that used to get mailed to you. Like Helene Hatzel actually talks about it. Oh, I was using it out in the living room. Where's her book? Here's her book. Helene was talking about it in the Name It and Claim It game. And she talked about subscribing to a sweepstakes newsletter. Where does she have it in here? And she talks about the sweepstakes supplies like envelopes, pens and pencils, cards, and keeping record, which I think is so funny. She says, I keep a detailed record of contest activities on a giant size calendar, a well worth investment. I teach people how to use RoboForm. If she saw how I entered sweepstakes today, her mind would just be blown, because she was also not techie at all. So each day as I take my envelopes out of the file box, I count the stamps and stick them on and make note of how many I send. I also make note of how much time I allot to signing my name or addressing envelopes. So she's tracking her time. I say, if you're going to enter online, an hour or 2 a day, but at Christmas time, some people spend 3, 4 all day hours entering. She says, write down every penny spent on paper, envelopes, and stamps. That's part of the expenses that can be deducted at the end of the year for income tax records. Yeah, so if you were doing mail-ins, you can deduct your cost of your supplies against any sweepstakes you win in the US. But talk to your accountant. I'm not an accountant. Be sure to write a check or get a receipt from the post office for the stamps purchased. Oh my God, writing checks. This is your biggest expense. Don't begrudge the postage money spent. When I stamp my envelopes before I mail them off, I mentally project energy to each envelope, thinking, here goes another winner that will bring me back my end result. We should say that with every online entry. I'm going to do that tonight. Here goes another winner that will bring me back my end result. Click. See, it's the same. Everything's energy. Don't be like the woman I once had as a neighbor. Oh my God, I tell this story all the time because it proves my point. One evening, she called and asked if she could drive to the post office with me. We talked earlier over the fence, and she knew I was going to make a trip later. She entered contests half-heartedly because she knew I kept winning things, and when we reached the post office, she leaned to deposit our entries into the curb box. She slipped them in the slot and turned to me and said, well, there goes nothing. I was dumbfounded. She never did win anything while I knew her. Later, she moved out of the neighborhood and took her gloom with her. I love Helene and her sass. I have down periods occasionally. Yeah, we call them dry spells. If it's a constant thing, it really is the pits. If this happens to you, make a considerable effort to get back into a positive frame of mind. Read something uplifting. Listen to violin music. This is one of the most uplifting, soothing sounds one can experience. Remember, you're in control of your thinking. Change it if it's pulling you down. Oh my God, she was so funny. But she said in here, I can't remember where, she talked about being part of a contest club, and then also going through her sweepstakes newsletter. Like, she got a contest newsletter. I can't remember where it is in the book. That's the problem when you read these books. When you write them and you're reading it like over and over and you're using it as teaching material, after a while you don't remember where some of the stuff is in the book, like because it all kind of comes together. So I just can't find. Anyway, she did subscribe to something, and I think the one she subscribed to got bought out by somebody else, and then different ones come and go. So I do think it's subscribing. I entered for years, no luck. Magazine subscriptions, yeah, those are not the ones to enter. They're not the ones to enter. I win so much stuff for the amount that I enter, like my proportion, because you just know after a while. I entered in contest a lot and read Halong's books. Thank you for keeping things up to date. How do you avoid Instagram jail during December? Okay, so here's what I do. I never get an Instagram jail. I only have 5 or 10 friends that I tag on each giveaway. And then I just enter their names and I go on to the next one. I guess I'm not entering so quickly. Maybe my typing skills are slow. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Mindy says I've won so many sweepstakes this year. Blue Girl says I'm a certified Reiki and Law of Attraction wealth practitioner. Yeah. What a fun way to enhance your lifestyle is by winning stuff. Right? Because it's all energy. Enjoy your live. Have to go, but look for your next live. Yeah, it's supposed to be it'll be next Friday. I'm doing these on Fridays, but I also do lives on Facebook and YouTube several times a month, and I answer questions and different things. So I'm doing one next Wednesday because we had so many questions on my last live with Ken Carlos that we couldn't answer them all. We ran out of time. And there was so many good questions. I could see the feed. I'm like, oh, I got to come back. So I'm going to go through the whole feed like on Wednesday and write out all the questions in case people post them later, like watch it on demand and ask a question. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to answer. Like I'm going to just sit and answer them. So if it takes me 2 hours, it'll take me 2 hours. I'm just going to sit and answer questions. I wanted Don Iquas. Oh, I'm terrible. I got a glass with the rimmer, salt and lime. I love fun practical prizes. Like the next time you have a party, you're all having like shots. I think I need to buy that book. Yes, you do. Actually, you know what? If you want to start winning tips on sweepstakes, if you have a Kindle or the Kindle app, this is only 99 cents on Kindle. Someone asked me if it was on Apple Books, but I still have to make it an EPUB book, and that's probably not going to happen until after I publish this one. I've got so many writing projects. I finally hired a virtual assistant because I had too much on my plate. I'm so grateful we don't have to mail them in. You know, it's kind of funny. I'm 50-50. I hear the stories from the old timers and I'm like, oh, I wish I had the mail-ins. And then, yeah, like I was getting my hair done and I sat and I entered Instagram sweeps the entire time. So, oh, thank you, Melanie, for the rose. I listen to horses eating. Doesn't that sound fun? That's very funny. Yeah, anything that makes you feel good and you have fun is the way to win sweepstakes. So, yeah, you know what? It's bugging me. I've got to find the part in here where she says she uses a sweepstakes, a newsletter. So, oh yeah, so I was trying to tell you the difference between So newsletters in the day, you'd literally get a newsletter in the mail and it would have listings of sweepstakes. And you'd fill out your 3x5s and mail them in. But they started moving online. And then at one point, you would get it mailed to you, or you could do the online version where the PDF was sent to you. And then they started having sections on their websites with giveaways. So it got to the point where there's nothing else mailed out. And a lot of times the stuff is just online now. So it's not really a sweepstakes newsletter anymore. Like Tom Cavalli. So I'll give you an example for I Win contest. He actually does a mail out every Thursday with a little description and some giveaways. And then if you go to his site, he has really key ones. He doesn't have as many as all the other sites, but he focuses on best odds. Similar to Sweetie's Sweeps. See, Sweetie's Secret Sweeps. I haven't seen her site in a while, so I don't know what she's up to. But he has key sweeps. And then what he does is he has a Discord group And then everyone could share keywords or share things there. Other sites like Sweepsheet have like forums, and you can go. So then there's like dailies and weeklies and monthlies and mail in and radio and Instagram. Like there's all these different topics, and then you can go in there and find sweepstakes. And then they still mail out a newsletter to you with some key ones. But it's so not the old kind of newsletter that people used to have. If you go to Sweepstakes Today or Sweepstakes Fanatics, they're like lists, similar to what you used to get in a newsletter. And then you can sort them. That's the thing with the technologies now, right? Like in the old days, you get this list. Well, if you wanted to just win a trip, you'd have to sift, and you might not find them all. Now you can just go, oh, I'm looking for all the vacation sweepstakes. Boom. I'm looking for every sweepstakes that has an instant win component. Boom. They're there instantly. It's all sorted by keyword. It's so cool. Okay, I think I got all the questions that were sent. Oh, 4,000 likes. Thank you so much. So yeah, so that's what Helene used to do. I'm just going to flip quickly. She had quite an adventure with, with her hobby. Like when she won the house, I love how she starts this chapter. She says, little did I realize what was in the making for taking when I went to the contest club meeting after my return from Europe. So I used to have a contest club here in the city I lived in. And of course the pandemic hit. So I actually now have a virtual contest club, and we meet, let me try that again. We meet twice a month. And the next one, and December's out because it's still busy between the holidays. I mean, there's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, and then sweepstakes season. So I don't even bother hosting any classes in December or meetings. And then I'm surprised I'm doing live streams. I should be entering sweepstakes. The next meeting is January 5th at 7:30 online and Zoom. So you can go to my website and click on workshops, and you can see everything that I teach, and it's all been updated. And then if you want to see it on a calendar, you can click events and then, of course, go forward a month. But I've posted a couple for this month. So I'm doing the one live next week. And then I have a check-in on the 19th. Because normally I do one on the last Monday of the month, but that's Boxing Day. So I'm not going to do it Boxing Day. So I'm doing it the 19th. And then the next month, January, is back to full-on schedule. So she says, I love how she says, little did I realize what was in the making for taking when I went to the contest club meeting after my return from Europe. The group met the first Monday in September, shortly after I returned from my European tour. I was now known as the gadabout, as the many trips I'd won in the contesting field. I might add that I was also glad about the many comforts and conveniences provided by the merchandise prizes I had won. Can you top this? Seemed to be the question that now presented itself. Isn't that funny? So she was trying to see what else she could win. The blessings you're giving to others will make the contest you do enter have better mojo. I actually believe that. There's a quote, like I have a chapter here in this book called Attracting Luck, and I'm changing it to my next book called Being Lucky. And you know why? Because attracting luck is outside of you, and being lucky is inside. And we all know winning. I've already planned to write a book called Winning is an Inside Job, because you know I'm right. But I actually quoted Deepak Chopra, who wrote about, where is it in here? You get what you give, exactly what you just said. Oh, what have you ever manifested and how? Okay, well, I'll go into that in a second, because I did manifest that trip to Mexico that we went on. I mean, technically we're always manifesting, and I've manifested tons of stuff. I think my grandmother had something to do with this, because we were at her funeral. We were at the wake and the whole family. It was a small affair. It was just immediate family. And we were all talking about her and watching videos about her. And my cousin is in the film industry in California. So he put together the most amazing memory video of her. Like, oh my God, it was the best. Anyway, we're all talking, and my brother-in-law said, how do you win those beer contests? Like, 'cause there's always a lot of times the beer companies will have different giveaways, and one of them you need a code from inside a beer case. Well, none of the companies do contests out of the goodness of their heart. They're trying to make sales, brand recognition, whatever the marketing goal is. Anyway, they had pin codes, and he said, how do you win them? I'm like, just watch. So I had a no purchase entry one, and I said, watch, it's easy. You just do this. And I went and I entered my daughter because I had already won. You can win one per person. So I had already won, and I'd already won for George. And I said, watch. They were giving away running shoes. And I said, watch, it's easy. You just do this. And I did it. And I said, look, and I just won it. And I won my daughter running shoes. And he's like, how do you do that? Can you win us shoes? I'm like, sure. But it was so funny because I just said, watch. I just knew I was going to win shoes. But I swear my grandmother, she was cheeky. She was cheeky. She had something to do with it. I know she did. She was so fun. And she didn't really understand what I did, but she knew I kind of won stuff, kind of. But she was 103. She was like a month shy of 103 when she passed away. And she had Alzheimer's, but she knew we loved her. Anyway, so anyway, I wrote out this thing from the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and it's all about you get what you give. So here's back to what you're saying. And this is what I wrote in the book, and then I won't quote his, you can read his book, but it says, it is my personal observation that the people that post the most contests, help others with answers, and in general share, seem to post the most wins. This principle goes back thousands of years. Deepak Chopra wrote a book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and I feel that law number 2, the law of giving, helps describe my theory. The more I share, the more I win. Statistically, the opposite should be true. The more people that enter a sweepstakes should decrease my odds of winning. However, I believe the opposite to be true. I can't lose helping others win. Now, what's crazy is I say that because I was trying to figure out what I was doing years ago. So I had my daughter in 2002. And when she was 2.5, I was thinking I should go back to work because I have a marketing background. I graduated with in business with a marketing major. And so I was thinking I was going to go back to work. And then I won a trip and we went to LA and I hung out with Bob Bloomer, who's a chef. Now, he had his own TV show. He had books. And it turns out he was not technically trained chef. He was like self-taught. That's not the right word I'm looking for, but anyway, classically trained. He wasn't classically trained. He was self-taught. And he still had all the success. And I'm kind of like, okay. Because I was thinking, what kind of credentials do I have to have? And I was trying to decide what I was going to do. And then he was cooking dinner. The prize was he was cooking dinner for us. And we had a great time. I think it's pronounced oniophile, is the person that collects wine. He collects wines and he studies wine. He loves wine. And he had a wine cellar and he went and picked some bottles from his own cellar. He had lived in Canada at one point, and I knew I was going to someone's house because we actually went to his house with the agency. It was with the company that ran the contest. It was crazy. And so you don't show up to somebody's house empty-handed. So I brought him some ice wine from Canada because I thought, well, he's going to have a taste of home. And I had read that he really liked wine. So he was really surprised I brought all these gifts, because I said, well, I'm thinking, come to somebody's house, you better show up bearing gifts. And so we brought him this ice wine, and then he's like, okay. So he then was like, okay, I'm cracking open my vault here. And he was picking wine, and we were just having a great time. He was cooking different courses. And then late at night, he says, this is the center of my universe. And intuitively I went, that is something very interesting to tell strangers, because, I mean, technically we're still strangers. And then he said it twice, and I thought, that's a message for me. So I came home and I told a girlfriend this story. I were having coffee and I tell her the story, and she says, well, what's the center of your universe? And the first thing that came to my mind was contests. And I thought, what am I supposed to do with contests? I thought, okay, I just got a piece to a puzzle. I have no idea what the picture looks like yet. I'm just going to hang on to this piece. So then we went to a birthday party, and we were talking to different people, and I was telling him about all these things we won, and he said, you should write a book. And I'm like, So I started doing research on writing a book. And I thought, okay. And one person I interviewed said, why would you give away all your secrets? That's a good question. Why would I give away all my secrets? So I was going back to the same girlfriend to have another coffee to discuss this. And I took a different route. And I passed the church, and I'm so mad I never took a picture of this. On the service announcement board, it said, you can't lose helping others win. And I went, that's a message for me. Like, people say, God, please give me a sign. I had a literal sign from God that said, you can't lose helping others win. And when I finished my first book, I went to the church and I talked to the pastor, and I said, those signs change people's lives. I wrote this book after I saw that sign. And he said, there's one couple in that church that would always do those signs. And he said, you have no idea how many people come in here and tell me that whatever they had put changed their life. So I saw that, you can't lose helping other win. And I didn't have to talk to her. I knew in that instant that I was going to write the book. So I really believe it's like all boats rise with the tide, right? And I didn't acknowledge you. I'm so sorry, Nikki. So fun. $500 from Winston. Professional caroling event. Oh my God. How fun is that going to be? How fun was that? And then a year's worth of Lay's and Pepsi. And actually someone that comes to our contest club won another prize of a year's worth of Lay's and Pepsis. Yeah, I love it when things align too. Oh, I'm happy that you're here. So anyway, then I wrote here, I share and post as many sweepstakes and answers and help as often as I can to as many groups as I can. And thank God, like this TikTok and some of these channels and some of the features on some of the platforms weren't even available when I wrote this, because this book is from 2016. Mindy's been winning on YouTube. I never look for giveaways on YouTube, but my daughter wins on YouTube and Twitch. She's like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. She'll say, she'll get something in the mail. She goes, oh, look what I won. I'm like, where are you entering giveaways? Or sometimes I'll be entering like, she'll turn around and I'll see a giveaway and I'll warn her, like, I'm entering you, so keep your eye out for an email in case you win. But it says, I know there are people within these groups entering many more sweepstakes than I do, yet I win 100 plus prizes a year. So why do I win 5, 10, or 15 sweepstakes every month after month? Why haven't I paid for a vacation in years? I believe it ties directly into the law of giving. And I definitely have to update my spreadsheet this year. Now, of course, that was not true during the pandemic, because literally in March of 2020, when everything shut down, I would go to all my No More Sweepstakes pages and they would be blank. Like, the companies were holding the page because they're not going to delete their web page, but they would just say, there's nothing running right now. They would be blank. Or companies that were giving away prizes changed the website to say, some were giving away trips and they didn't want to stop the giveaway. So they said, they literally put like a banner on the contest. Like, we don't know what's happening. There's probably going to be a cash alternative if we can't give away the prize. And I was like, whoa. And then some just stopped. Like, they have the right in the rules to stop the giveaway at any time. Like, if something happens to it. Search for giveaways and accounts with very low amounts of subscribers. Oh, that's a good trick, because that's actually the trick that I use for Instagram. They're not really, I like to say tips and tricks, but A lot of small creators have giveaways to grow their subscriber count. Exactly. Hello, small business. One of the people in my contest club said she follows all the real estate agents in her town during Christmas because they're all giving stuff away. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to wrap this up. I will be back next week on Friday. I have a YouTube live on Wednesday. There's tons of videos asking tons of questions on all my platforms I write. We're cleaning it up right now, but I have 13 years of blog posts. So there's like so much free information on my site. Oh my gosh, I went over $5,000 worth of stuff from YouTube, mostly beauty stuff and gift cards. Oh yeah, and Starbucks, is Starbucks for Life on now? I was just Googling it. Oh yeah, it started on Tuesday. I know, and I haven't entered today. And I've only won 5 stars so far. I've heard of people winning some big prizes. Who won in our group? In one of the groups that I'm on, somebody won, I think, Starbucks for a year, 6 months, like a lot. So if you are missing out, my due date is in 3 days. Wish me luck. You know what? It's funny. When women have babies, that's a lot of times when they start entering sweepstakes because they're, up at like 3 a.m. and they're breastfeeding and they need to be quiet. And it's especially easy now because you can just enter on your phone. So you'll be breastfeeding. You have the baby bumper and you have your phone and you could just do the Instagram. So many women enter sweepstakes. And there's so many things for babies to be given away. Like so many baby contests. So you can even do, like if you go to one of the websites like Sweepstakes Fanatics or Sweepstakes Today or Sweepstakes, I have a whole list on my website. You can put in baby or infant in the search and see what baby prizes or products and things come up. You can probably win so much stuff. Like I've been entering sweepstakes since before my daughter was born, so she does not know a life without winning. She just thinks that's what people do. I remember one time we took one of her friends because we won all these tickets. We went to the Science Center and they had a movie thing. We had tickets to the movie thing and oh my God, it was so good. And this one kid was like, asking her questions and she looks at me and she goes, "Hey mom, when was the last time we paid for a movie?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like never. Like I don't even, I mean, it's, it happens once in a while. Like my daughter, my George is a huge Avatar fan and the new Avatar movie's coming out. I have already bought the tickets for the first screening in our city. And I ordered them early enough. So we're like dead center. It's going to be fun. But yeah, it's rare that I buy movie passes. And actually, I didn't even pay the full price because I used all my points. And sometimes we have gift cards for the movie theater. So even if I bought tickets, I didn't really buy tickets because we had a gift card to do that. Anyway, I hope that was really helpful tonight. I will see you guys next week. Join me live on Wednesday on the YouTube or the Facebook. And I want to hear what you've won because there's prizes being given away every day now. Oh my God, it's so good. Bye for now. Yep, the end button's up here.